Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Data here with another breaking news trade in the National Hockey League as the Seattle Kraken have traded Yanni Gourde, Oliver Bjorkstrand, and a 2026 fifth-round pick of their own from Seattle. Let's go ahead and pull it up right here in the Frank Star Valley details for us. From the Seattle Kraken to the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for the Lightning's 2026 first-round pick, the Lightning's 2027 first-round pick, the second-round pick that they had acquired from Utah, who had acquired it from Toronto in 2025, a second-round pick, and Mikey Eyssimont. So essentially, Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand with a fifth, going for 2 firsts, a second, and a roster player here. Let's start breaking it all down and welcome everybody to the stream. You would think that maybe there's some sort of detail of salary retention that hasn't been said yet, but we're not hearing anything, and it seems as though this is the trade. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who just gave up, I say just, in recent history, gave up what, a first, second, third, fourth, fifth for Tanner Jeannot, now give up another couple of firsts, another second, and now they have no firsts until the year 2028. If you look at the Lightning, this is before the update to their draft pick situation. Take away 1 second in 2025, the Toronto one, that came to Utah through the Nick Ritchie trade, and then went to Tampa through the Mikhail Sergachev trade. So that's a second that has been traded a couple times. That leaves the Lightning with no firsts, 1 second, no third in 2025, and then 2026, no first, 2027, no first, and of course, already in this year, no first. They have no first-round picks until the year 2028. Now, is that the end of the world for a competing team who still has seconds and thirds? No. But just to say, it's tough when if they want to keep making rental moves in the future, they can only give up so many first-round picks before you have to start giving up 2 seconds or a second, third, and a prospect, whatever else it might be. So the Lightning, with their next 3 first-round picks gone, now having to say, this is a team that we're building. We're going to have to commit to this core, not this core, but like this depth, I should say, sorry, as Oliver Bjorkstrand will come into the team. He has a couple years left on his deal, so you'd think maybe there's some retention in there. The Lightning love getting players on those cheaper AAVs who are under term. Bjorkstrand is signed on for 1 more year at $5.4 million, so at least that's it speaks a bit to why the value is so high. It's not just 2 rentals right here, but they are having to give up a bit more for someone who's under contract, as Bjorkstrand at $5.4 million, 29 years old. Yanni Gourde, meanwhile, at 33, is an expiring UFA, 2-time Stanley Cup winner with the Tampa Bay Lightning, so he's been there before, but it has been about, 3 years since he's been in Tampa. So Lightning are definitely paying up for the extra year of Bjorkstrand, I would think. Yeah, and then the Kraken get more draft capital. The Lightning do have more draft capital to move if needed. They're definitely going all in as much as they can when they have their best 2 defensemen who are on the wrong side of 30. Had Hedman, who's 34, McDonough, who's 35, and still signed on longer term. It's not that things are closing here in Tampa. You still have Kucherov 31, Point 28, Gensel 30, Hagel 26, Vasilevsky 30. Don't get me wrong, this is not the end of the dynasty of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they're trying to say our best chances might be this year, next year. Let's go a little heavier on these 2 seasons, and if the team continues to perform in the future, then we keep going in the future. But this year, the team is firing on, you can say close to all cylinders. The Lightning are a solid team in the Eastern Conference. You know that the winner of the East is likely coming from the state of Florida. There's some retention from Detroit, I see, as Palm is telling us. Thank you, Palm. The real Elliot Friedman. Thank you very much. So I'm sure there has to be some retention going on there with Bjorkstrand coming in at that dollar value, because Lightning at this moment have $5.77 million in cap space. Moving out Eyssimont, who has a cap hit of $800K, that's not enough to bring in Yanni Gourde. If we go back to the Kraken here, Gourde and Bjorkstrand, who are making collectively like 10.5 million. So if 10.5 million is coming into Tampa and they're moving out like 800K, yeah, they have to clear up at least like four some million. So that's why the details aren't here yet, because there still seems to be more to this trade. But at least in terms of the players for players, not what will the value of retention cost, but just players for players. It's Gourde, Bjorkstrand, and a fifth in exchange for 2 firsts, a second, and Mikey Eyssimont. While we're waiting on those details, let's start breaking this all down. Who is Oliver Bjorkstrand going to the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's 29 years of age, and he is a 2-way scoring winger who carries the puck in transition and plays a shot-first game at even strength while dishing it on the power play. Works hard without the puck and has a good defensive stick. Not big or fast, but protects the puck. So if we look at his last 3 years according to weighted average data, in that 80th percentile, he's been doing good things with the Kraken in limited ice time too. Oliver Bjorkstrand is not playing big minutes. He's playing 15.5 minutes per night, and he's still producing 37 points in his last 61 games, 59 and 82 last year. He's been a solid contributor with the Seattle Kraken, and it's a great ROI for the Kraken, who got Bjorkstrand for a third and a fourth, and now flip him as a part of a package that brings them in 2 firsts and a second. And even Yanni Gourde, they got him for free in the expansion draft. So look at that incredible ROI for the Kraken, who trade a third, a fourth, and use an expansion draft pick on 2 players that bring back 2 firsts and a second, right? Yeah, Florida and Tampa buying like crazy. Meanwhile, the Leafs are still playing Connor Timmins. This better mean that the Leafs are getting Scott Laughton, says Leafs fan. Yeah, it's going to be a strong Eastern Conference. And for teams who are kind of just sitting there, like this, like fringe teams for sure, like the Senators, I'm saying like, what's going on? And then for those better teams like the Leafs who want to compete and win Stanley Cup, I'm also saying, what's going on? Let's get back to who Bjorkstrand is as a player. This will be a great addition for the Tampa Bay Lightning, not just this year, but into next year. At this age, at this production, this is exactly the type of move that the Lightning want to make to stay as relevant as possible for as long as possible. He's in that 80th percentile of even strength offense over the last 3 years, 76th of even strength defense, 70th for goals, 80th for primary assists, 76th for drawing penalties, 67th for finishing, and he plays against average levels of competition with above average levels of teammates. He's been playing on a good line against not the hardest matchups, but look how his defense has been rising very impressively from that like 25th percentile to maybe like the 55th up until like the 80th percentile now. Detroit is getting a 4th. Thank you, Landon. So it looks like Detroit getting a 4th for some retention. We'll get the details on that in a moment. Oliver Bjorkstrand, although the offense has dropped off a little bit, is still higher than it was a couple of years ago, and the finishing's been looking pretty good too. So his overall value as a player, the wins that he provides above those of a replacement level player, from below 50th percentile to now above, like probably like, yeah, we're talking like 80th percentile type conversations. Bjorkstrand is a solid player who hasn't been on so great of a team, but still has been giving some good results. Now, if we look at the microstats card, Bjorkstrand's scoring chance production has taken a hit the past 2 seasons, which is of some concern, but maybe a Kraken problem more than a Bjorkstrand problem. Otherwise, his transition play, production rate, and rush contribution all look good. Bjorkstrand is a solid contributor on a National Hockey League team. That's all there is to say about him. He's above average in all these stats here, just looking at the 24-25 microstat numbers here. Even strength defense looks great in that 85th percentile, and you see a lot of blue here. Primary assists, primary shot assists, rush shot assists, zone exits, zone entries, all above the 80th percentile there. Rush offense 80th. And where is he lacking? Chances. If you don't care as much about chances and chance contributions, if he's still doing things, if he's still moving the puck in the way that needs to be moved, and he's responsible defensively, you don't need Bjorkstrand to be your guy who's going to be generating so many chances all night long. Skating speed, whatever, that can be managed. So Oliver Bjorkstrand going to Tampa Bay Lightning. Who else did the Lightning get here? Let's check it out here for the Yanni Gourde card. Yanni Gourde is a two-way center who crashes the net, harasses opponents, battles, forechecks, and even hits despite being only 5'9". He plays behind the net and extends possessions by protecting the puck and making low to high passes. Poor finishing touch though. Check this out. Crazy. In that 79th percentile of even strength offense, 87th of even strength defense, 100th of penalty killing, then the finishing in the 6th percentile. Crazy. But that's not why you're getting Yanni Gourde. If you want him to be playing on your third line, the minutes he's been playing, again, he's been, sometimes 17 and a half, sometimes 12, 50. He's been averaging 15 and a half minutes per night this year in Seattle. As a Kraken player, he has 146 points in 271 games. So pretty much the same pace that he was on in Tampa Bay. He's like a high 40-point guy at his best. He had some Selke votes even a couple of years ago. Now at 33 years of age, Yanni Gourde, who was once an unsigned free agent, won 2 Stanley Cups in Tampa. The Lightning lost him to the expansion draft, and now they get him back a few years later after he's now played parts of 4 seasons with the Kraken. And again, he has been a solid contributor, just like Bjorkstrand. So more on Yanni Gourde here. Not going to do much on the goals, but the primary assists are there. The penalty killing is there. The even strength defense, even the offense is there. The defense, look at that exponential, 50th wasn't bad, but big jump from 50th to close like 95th or so. The finishing is always going to be like 25th percentile and below. Offense has been steady, but the defense has taken a nice jump, and his overall value has rebounded after a bit of a dip in 23-24. So Yanni Gourde isn't what he was 5 years ago. Let's take that, understand that right away, especially with the puck, but he's a known quantity in Tampa Bay and will have a pretty clear role to play. I think that it speaks for itself. Kyle Aucoin also in the package to the Lightning. All right, we'll get full details on that trade in a moment. So Yanni Gourde, just this season, according to the microstats, 72nd percentile of even strength offense, 95th of even strength defense. And look at this, in zone shot assist, 98, in zone offense, 96, hits 82nd percentile despite being 5'9". How many hits has he thrown this year even? 59 hits in 36 games, 156 last season in 80 games. Great. Yeah, he throws the body a lot. You got to give it to him. Now, where is he not doing well? The parts of the game we said are not going to be what he's counted on for. Goals, chances, shots, chance assists, chance contributions, rush, shot, assists, etc. That's not what he's there for, nor is that what he's going to be doing. So Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand, complementary pieces. One who's a former Lightning, two who are going to be coming here as teammates, and I would think playing probably that same middle six together, if not the same third line together. And there you go. The Lightning give up not anything too crazy. It's not just a toss-in. It's definitely a roster player. Mikey Eyssimont, he's been with the Lightning for how many years now? It's his third season, parts of his third season in Tampa. He's been a valuable piece for them. He's an NHLer for sure. He's been playing those fourth line minutes. If he's looking, he's been playing those fourth line minutes, averaging 10:41 here in Tampa. And he is a two-way forechecking winger who is insanely committed to shooting the puck from all over the ice, regardless of whether it has even the slightest chance of going in. So he loves to shoot the puck. There you go for that. So the finishing hasn't been great, but he's shooting the puck. Defense has rebounded. Offense has been plateauing in that 50th percentile. His overall value, 28th percentile the last 3 years, according to weighted average data. Nothing too crazy, but he provides offense and defense. And remember, offense doesn't always mean goals and assists. Offense means driving the offense, rush chances, blah, 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 that we saw on the microstats card. So offense and defense is solid enough for a guy in the fourth line role. The Kraken get to have him. Will he be a piece that they keep moving forward? Maybe, maybe not. But the Lightning, who I think would have preferred to keep him, at least get an upgrade on him. Not like they're just moving him for a contract. It's not they're moving him just because they got to move somebody. They're moving him because they're bringing in two better players. See in the microstats card here, this is the offense that we're talking about. In-zone shots, rush shots, forecheck involvement, even hits. But the assists, look at this. Primary assists, chance assists. That's, again, not what he's there for. So Mikey Eyssimont, a nice piece for the Kraken. Will he be there beyond this season? Hard to say. That's all we have right now. So let's go back to Twitter home. Looking at the full details in this one. There we go. So it's going to be Bjorkstrand. Hold on. Is there somewhere where it's a bit nicer of a graphic, maybe? No way. Hold on. No one created a nicer graphic than that. I like seeing it. This maybe I'm more of like a visual learner. Maybe is that what you want to call me? But I wouldn't mind a nice little graphic that tells me that. You know what? While I wait on that, or we could we'll just keep it here. Fine. Okay, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Yanni Gourde, 50% retained on Yanni Gourde. Okay, hold on. So Oliver Bjorkstrand is not being retained. So the Lightning are taking him on at, let me go back to the Kraken here. They're taking him on at the full $5.4 million. It's Yanni Gourde who's 50% retained. So at 5.166667. So that's going to be about 2.583 on Yanni Gourde. So 2.583 on Yanni Gourde, 5.4 on Bjorkstrand. So a full cap hit for him this year and next year. And the Red Wings, who only have to retain salary this season, will receive the higher of the Lightning's fourth round picks between their fourth and Edmonton's fourth. So the Lightning, who had 2 seconds and 2 fourths, now have 1 second and 1 fourth. So the Lightning now, is it even? Okay, it's 75% retained. Right, because they're retaining, the Seattle retained 50. Yes, sorry, my apologies. 50% retained by Seattle, then 25 more. So Yanni Gourde at 75% retained. My bad, thank you. So 5.166, let's say, times 25%. So that's going to be at 1.29 about of a cap hit. My bad. Sorry. 75% retained. Yes. Thank you for the correction. So much more manageable for the Lightning, who have a tight cap situation. So now no first, 1 second, no third, 1 fourth, 5th, 6th, and 4 sevenths for Tampa. Then no first in 2026, no first in 2027. That's the current draft pick situation. So we'll wait for Puckpedia to do that update. We'll come back to Puckpedia in a moment. Now, who's this guy also being traded here? Kyle Aucoin. Is that just a toss-in? Let's see this. Kyle Aucoin. Is that just a toss-in, or is that actually someone who might be of interest? Let's see. So Kyle Aucoin, 22-year-old defenseman, drafted 6th overall by the Red Wings in 2020, playing at Harvard University. 22, playing at Harvard. I doubt he makes the jump to the NHL in his career. So the Lightning essentially just getting a contract here. So Kyle Aucoin, drafted by the Red Wings. They essentially swap Kyle Aucoin for a 4th-round pick, which is fine. They drafted Aucoin in the 6th round. They get a 4th-round pick out of it with some salary retention. So there you go. So that's the trade in the end. Both the first round picks that are traded to the Kraken are top 10 protected, but you would think that's not going to be a big issue for the Lightning, who don't anticipate having those picks be top 10. No, I'm looking for a nice graphic, but I'm not seeing any here. Detroit involved in as well. No, that's all we're seeing. So we'll just leave it at that for the moment. Okay, so let's go back over here. So Oliver Bjorkstrand, if we look at just a bit more beyond the deeper numbers, just so not beyond, just if we look more surface level, I'm trying to say, Bjorkstrand, who was a third-round pick of the Blue Jackets in 2013, spent a lot of time in Columbus. The Kraken get him for a third and a fourth. He does great things. What he was expected to do. He scored 57 points in his best season in Columbus. Comes to Seattle, 45, 59. This year, 37 and 61. They flip him with Gourde for 2 firsts and a second. Great return on investment. Solid ROI here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sorry, for the Seattle Kraken, who got Bjorkstrand for a third and a fourth, and Gourde for free from the expansion draft. Oliver Bjorkstrand, even playing less minutes than usual, about 40 seconds less per night, he's still putting up solid numbers. His 82-game career average in the NHL is 51 points per 82 games played. So he's a solid contributor, as we already said a couple of times here. Yanni Gourde, at the age of 33, 2-time Stanley Cup winner with the Lightning. Signed by the Lightning, claimed by the Kraken in the expansion. Long road to the National Hockey League, but he has become a bona fide NHL, like a real legit NHL contributor to a Stanley Cup contending team. 17 points in 36 games so far in the year, and in a reduced role a little bit. Yeah, he's playing 17 and a half to 18 in Seattle, 18 and a half even this year at 15:30 per night on average, as he's moving down in the depth a little bit there for the Kraken. Lightning, any updates here? Still no update. Mikey Eyssimont, who was acquired by the Lightning for Nemesnikov from the Sharks. Yes, so he was acquired for Nemesnikov straight up, and now the ROI on him is that they get to maybe not, instead of giving up another first, they have to give a second instead. I don't know what, but he was good for the Lightning. He was doing good things for Tampa. He was the type of player that Lightning would want on their fourth line. Cheap and effective. So Eyssimont, who's playing 10:41 per night, now goes to Seattle. Will he stay there beyond this season? That's a question to be answered. But now if we look at the depth chart for the Kraken, what this means for them moving towards the end of the season, as they are more in that seller position, are they going to be moving Jared McCann? That's a possibility as well. And they have a couple of open spots in their forward core now. So you would think Ty Karty's going to come into the lineup for sure. Then who gets called up? I'm sure one of these guys are going to, maybe Dylan Sprong comes up, or Daniel Sprong, sorry. Maybe Sprong gets the call. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jared McCann is someone who moves, but I don't know if they really need to feel too pressured to do that. 2 more years at $5 million for a former 40-goal scorer. If I'm Seattle, I'm not trading Jared McCann, but I wouldn't be crazy, like super surprised if they did. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning, if we go and look at their depth, so maybe it is updated, just not the full trade details, because there we go. Now it's updated. Okay, we'll see in a moment. So Tampa Bay Lightning, now right wing 2, this is where Bjorkstrand can slot in. Center 3, this is where Yanni Gourde can slot in. That allows Glendening on the fourth line. Nick Paul can play wing even. A bit more of stability in that top 6/middle 6. Defense, Hedman, McDonough, your 2 top guys who are 34 and 35. If I'm Tampa, I'm probably still buying. As crazy as that sounds, I'm probably still buying. I wouldn't mind like another insurance on defense. I wouldn't mind another forward for the bottom 6. I know Cam Atkinson just got put on waivers. Logan Brown got put on waivers. But like, I'm saying like an expiring UFA, not a guy who's going to be here longer term. I guess the Tampa's still making more moves, but this is the big move for them. Definitely. If there's more to come, this is the big move. So that's an update. Yeah, but the Kraken did update. Is that what it is? No, it didn't update, but the money changed. I don't know. I'm not sure why we're seeing that update here. So yeah, those 3 picks are a lot, but a big part of this I don't see people mentioning is the salary retention. Bjorkstrand at 2.7. No, but Bjorkstrand's not being retained. It's Yanni Gourde who's being retained. Yeah, exactly. Grav got that one wrong there. If it was Bjorkstrand at 2.7 million for this year and next year, then I'd say, okay, I understand, to give up 2 firsts and a second. That's what you got to do. But to say that it's the expiring UFA who's at 50% retained and Bjorkstrand's a full 5.4 million, again, that's not an undoable amount of money. You're not going to have major problems at the cap just because of Oliver Bjorkstrand. It makes it tighter, but it's not going to be impossible. But at the same time, it definitely takes away from the value that it would have costed. I'm sure this tweet's going to get deleted soon enough. Yeah. Misinformation. I just wanted a nice graphic. Could no one make me a nice graphic here? Brock Besser. I'm not sure why Brock Besser's trending. The race for first is crucial now for the Leafs to avoid the Lightning or Florida. They really need a few trades here. That's the thing. Not only do the Maple Leafs need to compete in a stacked Eastern Conference, they need to make sure as much as possible that they're not facing the Lightning or the Panthers in round one. So if we look at the standings right now, the Leafs are sitting number one. That's great. Whoever of these three teams, one of these three teams are finishing top in the Atlantic. That's already a given. The Maple Leafs need to win the Atlantic so that the Panthers and the Lightning can eliminate one of the other in the first round. Honestly, with the moves that the Panthers have made and the moves that the Lightning have made, I don't see the Maple Leafs hanging on to that spot. It'll be Toronto versus Florida or Tampa. And I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but in that series today, with teams as they are on March 5th at 3:40 p.m. Eastern, the Maple Leafs do not make it out of that series. And I think they lose in 5, maybe 6 if they're lucky. So the Maple Leafs, the notice has been put on them. They need to react now. And you know what? Like a Scott Laughton trade is not enough. As much as they need to go and do something like that, a little Scott Laughton acquisition versus Bjorkstrand and Gourde here and Seth Jones and Vanacek over here. Maybe Vanacek's not crazy, but still, I don't think a little Scott Laughton pickup is enough for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They need to, one of these years, when was a year the Maple Leafs actually said, let's be big players at the deadline? When have the Maple Leafs ever made the huge deadline splash? Like the huge deadline splash? Free agency, I get it. John Tavares, whatever else. Jake Muzzin. Was Jake Muzzin a trade acquisition? I forget. But like the big splash. Top 5 name on the trade board. Am I just forgetting it? Or is it just me? I don't know. Off my soapbox for a moment there. I'm not even a Leafs fan, but they need to do something. It is ridiculous that they haven't done anything, not only this year, but in years prior. And they're going to watch Florida and Tampa do something, and they're going to get bounced in 5 games in round one, and they're going to rinse and repeat again next year. But I see the Stars as in a different category. As much as the Leafs have the star power, I think the Stars have better depth. And I know maybe you disagree with me because you know more about the Stars. Granted, I'll give it to you. But I'm speaking to Landon here, but I think the Stars could survive. Not that they're going to be, not that they don't need something, but I think the Stars could survive if they didn't do anything better than the Leafs if they didn't do anything. That's what I'm trying to say. I think the Stars can beat the Wild in a 7-game series today. I don't think the Maple Leafs can beat the Panthers or the Lightning in a 7-game series today. That's my point. 5 games? How generous of you. All right. Let's go back over here. Full trade. There we go. That's what I want to see. This misinformation. Yeah, there you go. Misinformation is gone. Okay, so here's the full trade. This is kind of how I like to see it. So Tampa Bay receives Yanni Gourde, Oliver Bjorkstrand, and Kyle Aucoin, who's a toss-in, along with a 2026 5th-round pick. Very nice, so they can have some picks in their system. In exchange for Mikey Eyssimont, who's going to be removed from the Tampa Bay 4th line. Lightning give up the 2nd-round pick that they got from Utah, which was Toronto's originally, that they had gotten in the Mikhail Sergachev trade. They also give up their 2026 first and their 2027 first in a deal that sees them also retain 50% of Yanni Gourde's contract. Detroit, for facilitating the trade and retaining 25% of Yanni Gourde, get a 2025 4th-round pick and send back Kyle Aucoin to Tampa, as he was originally a Detroit prospect. If we look at, what did I say? There was something I wanted to see here. It was, yes, the Sergachev trade. So give me a second here. That Sergachev trade, what did the Lightning get again for Sergachev? Sergachev. The full Sergachev trade was what? It was Sergachev with Connor Geekie, JJ Moser. So yeah, so now ultimately the Lightning received Geekie, Moser, and a 2nd, and that 2nd was then flipped for, along with 2 firsts for Bjorkstrand and Gourde. I see. I'm just curious about that. There you go. Geekie and Moser. Yeah. Yeah, probably then when they traded for Ryan O'Reilly was their big move the last time they did something. Michael saying, hear me out. Leafs got to see that they aren't coming out of their own division. Trade Marner for a haul and then just re-sign him in the offseason. 2 things I'm going to answer here. First, I would say that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Would it be wild? Yes. But if they got a bit like the Rantanen trade wasn't for picks and prospects. The Rantanen trade was for Martin Necas. If the Leafs could find a trade where they bring back a player of equal value who signed on longer term for Mitch Marner, it wouldn't be ridiculous. It would be wild, but it wouldn't be ridiculous. Now, the thing is, for him to then walk to free agency and re-sign in Toronto, it's not impossible, but there would definitely be some NHLPA inquisition going on to make sure that there wasn't any funny business going on there. So although that's fun in franchise mode, it might be hard to pull in the real world because it's not impossible. We've seen it in the past, but like when's the last time that happened? Like Mark Recchi, when he got traded to the Bruins, won a cup, and then came back. I don't know. Like I can't remember the last time a free agent got traded to a team at the deadline, expired, then went back to that original team. Not impossible, but would Marner waive a no movement clause? I don't know. But again, that's the only if you're sure that you can't re-sign him. And yes, both of those first round picks are top 10 protected. Now, the Lightning in that trade no longer have any first round picks until the year 2028. Do they need all those first round picks? No, not necessarily. They have seconds, they have thirds, they have some prospects or younger players. It's not the end of the world that they don't have firsts, but it definitely shows that the Lightning are continuing to be in that all in mind frame as they move out with a first, a second, a third, fourth, and a fifth for Tanner Jeannot. That ended up being something that blew up in their face. And now here they are acquiring Yanni Gourde at $1.291 million, expiring UFA, and Oliver Bjorkstrand at 5.4, we said? What was it? 5.4, yes, 5.4. And they get to have him next year as well. The Lightning are ready for next season already. Therein lies the value of having to give more. So that leaves them with how much cap space here? 4.481? Can't be. They didn't put Bjorkstrand yet. No, that's why. So yeah, how are they making this fit? Because if they have 4.4 million and Bjorkstrand's making 5.4, isn't there something not adding up here? Unless I'm missing something. Yeah. What do I got here? Notifications. If either ends up a top 10 selection, they slide to 2028. If both picks wind up top 10, they slide to 2028 and 2029. So yeah, but that's not going to happen. The Kraken will also gain an additional third round pick from Tampa Bay for the year that each first rounder slides to. Huh. Great conditions, but I doubt they'll have to be used. Thank you, Mighty Joe. So again, if you're just joining us, quick little look at who the Tampa Bay Lightning are getting here. Oliver Bjorkstrand, who is an incredible contributor. This is what you want to see on the JFresh card. Lots of blue, lots of uptrending arrows and charts and all that. He plays a great game, and he's going to be a really nice addition for the Lightning both this year and next year, as the Lightning are trying to get one more cup out of Hedman, McDonough, and all those guys before they're gone. And then come 3 years from now, you'll have Kucherov 34, you'll have Vasilevsky 33, whatever. That's when they'll start to say, okay, now the window's starting to close. Let's make one last push. And 5-6 years from now, the Lightning are going to be a poverty rebuilding team. Maybe not 5-6 years, but we're saying within the decade. And that's okay if you win 3 Stanley Cups. That's just the cycle of life. But the Lightning are definitely going to be going through some tough years in the future. Again, with 2 to 3 or 4 Stanley Cup banners in your rafters, does it hurt less? Absolutely. And here are Bjorkstrand's numbers on the microstat card for 2024-25. Again, lots of blue, things you want to see. Yanni Gourde also goes back to Tampa, where he won 2 Stanley Cups. Again, we're looking at more of the defensive part here, the penalty kill, the defensive wins above replacement over last 3 years of weighted average data among forwards, blah, blah, blah. Isn't what he was 5 years ago, but he's still a known quantity for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's what they love. 95th percentile of even strength defense wins above replacement in the 30-some games that he has played this year. The Lightning do sadly lose Mikey Eyssimont, who is a two-way forechecking winger who loves to shoot the puck from all over the ice. He holds value too, especially at $800K. But the Lightning had to move somebody out, I suppose, they already put Atkinson and Brown on waivers. So I guess maybe they would have had to put Eyssimont on waivers eventually. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right, but maybe the Kraken just really like him too and they wanted him. And there you go. So that's what's being moved in terms of NHL value. Gourde, Bjorkstrand from Seattle, Aucoin from Detroit, and then a 5th from Seattle as well, in exchange for Eyssimont, a Toronto 2nd, which was moved to Utah in the Nick Ritchie trade, and then moved to Tampa in the Mikhail Sergachev trade. Tampa 1st in 2026, Tampa 1st in 2027, both top 10 protected. Seattle retains 50% of Gourde's contract. Detroit retains 25%. And for their troubles, they get one of the better of Tampa's 2 4th-round picks. Yes, there's a nice little graphic. That's what I wanted, the nice graphic. That's it. So there you go. I don't like the sponsorship. You know what? No, I'm not putting it there. I'm keeping Golf Town as the sponsor. I'm sick of all these betting sites. I refuse to have them be on my live stream here. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't show the 4th-round pick going to Detroit, but this is the main heart of the deal. Where do I see Raquel going? I if I had to really, really think what's going to happen, I would lean the Penguins keep him. If he gets traded, where is he going? Great question. If we go to the NHL standings and you think about it, who has cap space, who has the value to make it happen? I don't think anyone in the East. I would be shocked if it's someone in the East. If I had to choose a team in the West that goes after Rickard Rakell, I could see it being like maybe an Edmonton Oilers who don't want maybe Victor Arvidsson in their top 6 anymore. I could see the LA Kings. I could see one of those teams in the Pacific maybe if it had to do it. One of these two teams in the Pacific. And hey, Palm agrees with me. LA. There you go. Let's see if we're right, Palm. I would say I lean towards the Penguins keep him, but if he gets traded, I see a team in the Pacific. Definitely the Western Conference, though, I think. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big trade, definitely one of the bigger ones here as we lead up to the trade deadline on Friday, a couple days from now, less than 48 hours away. We'll be live around noon Eastern on Friday, so join us for that live coverage. Subscribe, hit that bell for breaking news live streams for these trades that are coming your way. I couldn't agree more. That's why I try not to show any of that. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the Discord server, linked in the description because news breaks there first, and then the stream comes a few minutes later. Thanks for joining. Leave a like, and also your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think about this trade? Did the Lightning get fleeced by giving up so much trade capital again? If there were 2 rentals, I'd say yes, but with Bjorkstrand having that extra year, I wonder. But still, 1 more year of Bjorkstrand plus a rental for 2 firsts and a second, it's a lot of value. Is it a fleece, though? That's going to be for you to decide. KS says massive overpay. Again, if it's rentals, I say massive overpay. Because Bjorkstrand has 1 more year, I say it's a bit more digestible, but it's still a very, very heavy price to pay. 2 firsts and a second for Bjorkstrand, who I love as a player, but it's a lot. It's a lot. I wouldn't put it in the fleece category, but I put it in the overpay category. But we'll see what happens. Again, with 2, 3, 4 Stanley Cup banners in your rafters, no one cares about overpayments. But if you get bounced in round 1 by Florida, if I'm Tampa Bay and the Lightning and the Maple Leafs win the division, and I'm facing Florida in round 1 and we lose in a 7-game double overtime, well, then that hurts a lot more to say all those firsts and seconds are gone. I digress. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm sure we'll be live again either today or sometime tomorrow leading up to the trade deadline, and I look forward to seeing you there for the next one, breaking it all down, and just an exciting time in the National Hockey League. We love trade deadline season. Thanks, everybody, for joining me this afternoon, and we'll talk again in the very near future.